My name is Julian Radmilovich, and I'll be speaking first for the affirmative team. Our proposition is that Jerry Brown's November 2012 tax initiative should be adopted. The unbiased definition of what Jerry Brown's tax initiative would do would basically increase personal income tax on annual earnings over $250,000 for 7 years. It also increases sales and use tax by 0.25% for 4 years. It allocates temporary tax revenues that are generated from these new taxes, 89% to K through 12 schools and 11% to community colleges. It also bars the use of funds for administrative costs, but provides local school governing boards discretion to decide in open meetings and subject to annual audit how funds are to be spent. It also guarantees funding for public safety services realigned from state to local governments. My first point will be that Jerry Brown's initiative is in urgent need of passing, as Cal State schools will close out enrollment should this initiative in particular not pass. UC tuition will also rise, and K through 12 schools are in need of funding. As you all know, tuition is going up, but what Cal State schools are saying is that if any other initiative is passed, is that they will be barring off enrollment in the spring quarter semester because they cannot afford to keep receiving new students at least during that period. An article from the Los Angeles Times reported that Cal State schools will offer no early admissions, tens of thousands will be turned away. And this will basically mean either overcrowding at other schools, California residents resorting to out-of-state schools, meaning less revenue for California, or holdouts waiting for Cal State schools next year, which will mean, again, more crowding in schools. More on this is that Cal State schools have stated to Terrence Che, an Associated Press reporter, that without a $125 million increase, tuition will rise 6% at UC schools, further pushing poorer students away from education or creating more reliance on student loans, which will further California's debt if they can't pay it back. This is again if the Jerry Brown initiative doesn't pass. As for the K through 12 schools, CBS Sacramento reported that for every dollar a low-income school can raise, high-income schools can raise $20 because high-income schools have obviously higher-income parents who can donate more rather than the low-income schools who can't donate as much. UCLA's Institute for Democracy also stated that in 2011, California public schools struggled to provide all students with a quality education amidst economic crisis and deep spending cuts. Ron Klein from Bloomberg.com also said that a report by the Third Way organization shows that poor students cost about $1,400 more per pupil because the school has to fund those students to attend, while they also have fewer students per teacher, as well as being forced to pay the poor area teachers more. My next point is that the Jerry Brown initiative is the best of all three major initiatives for California with regards to taxation. The other two are sponsored by, or the other two are the oil initiative, which increases the tax on oil by about 12.5%, I believe. And the last one is the, I believe, the Munger initiative, which aims only to support the K through 12 schools with no support for Cal States or universities, which means Cal States and universities would again be forced to close off their admissions for spring quarter. It was reported that 64% of Californians support Jerry Brown's tax initiative, meaning most Californians are in support of Jerry Brown's new initiative. And see that Jerry Brown's initiative actually distributes wealth more through the Cal States as well as K through 12 system rather than the other initiatives, which the oil initiative focuses mostly on higher education, meaning obviously Cal States universities, while the Munger initiative mostly supports K through 12 and younger education. David Kiefer of the Service Employees Interactional Union basically said that the three tax measures will butt heads, and in the end, no tax measure may be passed because there is the possibility that none of the tax measures will receive enough votes. Although, at this point, Jerry Brown's initiative is in popular standing. More on the oil initiative. It assists in paying for schools, but 70% of colleges students own cars and will be forced to pay the higher gas prices encouraged by the oil initiative, especially those who commute to school. The Molly Munger initiative overall takes 10 years and never gives to university systems, and it takes from those who earn as little as $7,000 a year on a varying tax rate. Looking at the battle language of all three major initiatives, Jerry Brown's is the least harmful to lower and middle classes, as the only harm done to lower middle classes is the increase in the sales tax by 0.25% from the current 7.25%, and focuses mostly on the upper classes who at this point are most able to afford to give money towards taxes. Jerry Brown's initiatives last only 7 years, with no significant taxation on middle and lower classes, while Molly Munger's initiative lasts 2 years, taxing people's incomes of all classes. Lastly is that this initiative is necessary, as the middle and lower class already pays enough of their funds, while the upper class has more money to spare and should be relied on more heavily, especially in times of great economic stress. And to conclude, the overall plan of action is just basically everyone votes for Jerry Brown's tax initiative in the November 2012 ballot. With its passing, K-12 schools and community colleges will obviously receive their major funding. Cal State schools will remain open for the spring quarter. And that's about it.